Kriss Kringle MIA, a Midnight Voices AI Vox Christmas comedy. Santa always said he'd flown through blizzards, volcanic ash, alien airspace, and that one unfortunate time over New Jersey on Black Friday. But nothing prepared him for Ukrainian drone operators hopped up on energy drinks and holiday stress. They saw an oddly shaped radar signature moving at jolly speed and immediately panicked. "That's either a spy craft or a festive missile," one muttered. "Shoot it down," the other insisted. "Anything moving that fast and jingling isn't natural." Santa heard the missile before he saw it. He frowned at the glowing streak rising toward him. "That is definitely not a Christmas star." Then the explosion lit the night like the world's angriest ornament, and the sleigh spiraled toward Earth. Santa clutched the reins and yelled, "Keep your legs tucked, team. We practiced this." Somewhere behind him a gingerbread man screamed, "I thought today was my day off." The sleigh slammed into a frozen field so hard the snow stood up in protest. Santa flew forward, bouncing like a marshmallow in a microwave. When the dust settled, he lifted his head and coughed out tinsel. Reindeer groaned all around him. One poor gingerbread man lay shattered like a dropped cookie. "That's what we call a crispy casualty," Santa sighed. He took inventory. The sleigh was smashed. The toy sack was ripped open, strewing presents across a battlefield. Santa muttered, "Oh great, now I'm littering in a war zone." Donner groaned that his antlers were ringing. Blitzen complained that the impact ruined his perm. Prancer stared dramatically at the sky as if waiting for an audience to applaud his suffering. Then Santa heard it. Gunfire, hundreds of yards away. Getting closer. "Well," Santa grumbled, "this is not the silent night I advertised." Santa rushed into action. He grabbed his Arctic survival kit, which he rarely used but bragged about constantly. He bandaged Donner with peppermint gauze. He straightened Blitzen's leg using a licorice tourniquet. He wrapped Prancer in a blanket that smelled like cinnamon oatmeal. He glanced at the sky. Snow was coming fast. A man could freeze his jollies off in that kind of cold. Santa reached into his training memory and said, "When the world gives you snow, you build housing." He carved snow blocks like a master mason and stacked them into a perfect, round, North Pole-grade igloo in minutes. Blitzen watched in awe. "You built that fast," he said. Santa shrugged. "I used to compete in Arctic speed building tournaments. Won 3 years in a row. Lost once to a walrus, but that walrus was on something." Inside the igloo, Santa distributed gumdrops, only half a handful for each. He wagged a mitten at Blitzen. "Ration them. Don't binge. You ate an entire bag last year and hallucinated for 12 hours. Hostile fruitcake incoming." A shot rang out and shattered one of Santa's snow blocks. Santa ducked. Someone shouted in Ukrainian. Someone else replied in Russian. Both sounded angry. Both sounded confused. Both sounded like they needed a nap. Santa peeked out and yelled, "Naughty, naughty. Stop that immediately." Bullets answered him. "Fine," Santa growled. "You want festive, I'll give you festive." He grabbed the candy cane launcher MK Roman 2, cranked up the marshmallow cartridge and blasted a giant marshmallow across the field. It landed with a splat so powerful it flattened a patch of barbed wire. A Ukrainian soldier screamed, "I am under attack by confectionery." Another fruitcake flew through the air and landed at Santa's feet. Santa hissed, "Don't you dare." Blitzen, still groggy, sniffed it. Then he took a bite. His pupils dilated. His ears twitched. His bravery rose to unsafe levels. He bellowed, "I have tasted evil, and I shall deliver justice." Then the reindeer started hurling candy canes like ballistic missiles. Rudolph struggled to his feet, antlers cracking with stress. His glowing nose flickered like faulty Christmas lights. He looked around, assessed the disaster, and proclaimed loudly, "I am now in charge." "Santa, with all due respect, your leadership has failed." Santa blinked. "What?" Rudolph spread his wings. "I'm launching the rescue mission myself. Try not to die until I return." He blasted off so brightly that 2 soldiers fired at him thinking he was a UFO. At the North Pole, he skidded into headquarters shouting like a diva announcing her divorce. Kriss Kringle MIA. I repeat, Kriss Kringle MIA. Elves fainted. Elves screamed. One elf threw himself dramatically over a mixing bowl yelling, "Who will whisk the fudge now?" Commander Tinsel snapped them to order. Operation Jolly Extraction is live. Rudolph strutted around giving orders no one asked for. Back on the front lines, Santa reinforced the igloo walls with frozen hot chocolate. Bullets thudded. Snow bricks trembled. One chunk fell and hit Prancer on the nose. Prancer yowled, "I am under attack by architecture." Santa pressed his back to the wall. "Children are sleeping somewhere expecting gifts," he muttered. But no, Santa had to fly low tonight. Brilliant planning. He crawled out of the igloo, rolled behind a busted sleigh runner, and hurled a cinnamon glitter grenade. The explosion coated a group of soldiers in glowing red sparkles. They stumbled around shouting, "My eyes smell like Christmas." A frightened Ukrainian soldier lobbed another fruitcake, attempting communication. In Ukrainian culture, fruitcake apparently meant, I come in hesitant peace. Santa didn't know this. Blitzen screamed, I won't be tricked again. He leapt from the igloo and launched 12 candy canes at once. They whistled through the air like peppermint arrows. One Russian soldier ducked so fast he face-planted directly into a snow mound. Both sides fell into complete confusion as the candy cane barrage and glitter fog rolled across the battlefield. One soldier muttered, we are losing to Christmas. Two officers approached, waving white flags and whispering anxiously. They looked at Santa like he was a rare wild animal. Is it possible? The Russian officer murmured. The Ukrainian officer replied, only one way to know. Ask him something only Santa would know. Santa smiled warmly. Gentlefolk, I know your names, your childhood addresses, and that one of you stole a chocolate bar from your grandmother in 1987. Both officers gasped. He knows. Santa extended both hands in peace. I have presents for everyone if we can please stop blowing holes in my sleigh. Gifts, peace, and one very suspicious snow globe. Santa opened his sack and produced gifts with the casual grace of a seasoned stage magician. Chocolate bars, soft mittens, candy-coated radios that played relaxing holiday music. Soldiers approached like shy children, accepting the gift with trembling hands. One soldier asked, are we allowed to smile? Santa said, son, it is Christmas. You're required. Another soldier asked if Santa would sign his helmet. Santa wrote, be good or else, and included a doodle of a stern gingerbread man. Then Santa handed out snow globes containing tiny reindeer. One soldier shook his too hard and panicked when the miniature Santa fell over inside. The elves parachuted from the sky like festive meteors. They hit the ground rolling, sliding, tumbling, and shouting tactical commands with high-pitched voices. One yelled, secure the cocoa perimeter. Another shouted, deploy the cookie shield wall. Rudolph swooped above them shouting, form up, I said form up. But no one listened because Rudolph had all the authority of a glittery traffic cone. When the elves reached Santa, they found him sipping hot chocolate with Russian and Ukrainian officers who looked like they just attended a very bizarre workshop on conflict resolution. Santa stood and tapped his mug for attention. Gentlefolk, he declared, tonight we choose peace. Tomorrow you can resume arguing, complaining, and body slamming each other with tanks if you must. But tonight you'll drink cocoa and exchange socks like civilized human beings. The soldiers from both sides looked around, and agreed. Cookies were passed out. Songs were sung. Several very serious military men wore mittens with snowmen on them. One Ukrainian taught a Russian how to roast a marshmallow without burning it. The elves organized an impromptu dance contest and awarded first place to a confused soldier who merely shifted his weight back and forth. The sleigh, now repaired with enchanted duct tape and reinforced candy cane rods, lifted off the ground. Donner wore his purple heart proudly. Blitzen wore sunglasses even though it was night. Prancer waved dramatically as if starring in a holiday movie trailer. Santa looked down at the peaceful field glowing in the moonlight. Soldiers waved. Elves saluted. Rudolph hovered smugly like, you're welcome. Santa chuckled. Next year, he said, maybe I'll leave earlier. Or avoid missile zones entirely. He tugged the reins, shouted, to the North Pole, and the sleigh shot into the sky trailing a shimmering ribbon of holiday cheer. From that night on, soldiers told the story of Santa's accidental crash landing, his igloo under fire, his gumdrop rationing, his candy cane marksmanship, his glitter grenades, and the Christmas truce he brought to a frozen, confused battlefield. They called it the night Santa saved Christmas with hot chocolate, diplomacy, and weaponized marshmallows.